Hey everybody, it's Benjamin here at the Centaur Fragrance Channel, coming back at you with more fragrances, more colognes, and more perfumes. Let's talk about another one from Zoha. This one is Iris Imperial. Now, you might not have heard about this brand or this fragrance. Check out this brand if you want. They do have some interpretations and some original creations. Of course, they're going to give you a great fragrance and save you money. And this fragrance here is an interpretation of Dior Homme Intense. I do want to say first off that this was sent to me. They didn't really ask that I made a review. I actually, they sent this to me a long time ago, and they've never fussed at me, they've never complained, and I am here to share this fragrance with you today. It's an interpretation of Dior Homme Intense. You might ask, why did somebody make an interpretation of Dior Homme Intense? It's because there's actually a vintage version. Recently, with the reformulations, we're not sure if Dior Homme Intense, the version we know here from 2019 going into 2020 is going to stick around, but there also was a reformulation back in the day. It used to be even more iris heavy. It used to be a very heavy fragrance on the iris, and this fragrance just kind of brings it back. I think it's not exactly as iris heavy as the vintages. I think it's somewhere in between the vintage and the moderns, the modern versions of, the intense, of the 2019. If the fragrance really is gone here in 2020. So overall, it smells very nice. I'll read you all the notes real quick because they conveniently put the notes here on the sticker. It has notes of iris, ambrette, lavender, pear, cedarwood, and vetiver. Now, to my nose, that pear they added, more of that pear note really adds a little bit of this this almost fresh sweetness that adds a little bit of texture to the fragrance. It's really nice. The iris they're using here to me is almost a little bit more powdery than the iris that they use in the Dior Homme Intense. I'm not saying that the iris in this Zoha is higher quality. I'm saying it has a different feel. To me, the iris in the Dior Homme Intense is a little bit more of a dark iris. Has a little bit more density to it. The iris to me in Iris Imperial is a little bit more airy and a little bit more powdery to my nose. The pear does stick out. I really don't get a lot of cedarwood. I think if the cedarwood was strong in this fragrance, it would really detract from the tone. This is more of a purple tone fragrance. That's what it looks like. Maybe it's just because I see the sticker and the label, but this really does scream purple to me. Iris and the pear, the little bit of sweetness, and the vetiver really doesn't stick out, but it's like that lighter, more fresh, more grassy vetiver. And it does add a nice composition with the dry down. It's not, if they would have relied just on iris, like the Dior Homme, that's why you get such a big blast of the iris, and then it slowly dries down. The vetiver is more of a base note, and it kind of meets the iris halfway through the fragrance. They do a handshake, and about halfway through the fragrance, the iris really kind of sits more in the background, and the vetiver comes to play in a really kind of soft, a more fresh way. So to me, it's slightly more fresh, slightly more sweet, and a little bit more airy and a little bit more powdery. If you're a big Dior Homme Intense fan, this is going to smell, I think, quite different to your nose from the original. But it is a nice creation. I actually did let people smell this one. We'll jump to the, let's jump to the projection of the performance before we jump to the compliments. This fragrance gave me 6 hours or maybe 7 hours of performance. These fragrances from them are eau de parfums. You're going to expect good performance. I wouldn't be amazed that somebody else out there can get 8, 9, maybe even 10 hours. But on my skin, this is more of a 7, 8 hour fragrance. It's not bad, but it's not certainly overtly long lasting. It is a nice fragrance though. It holds on as a skin scent for a really long time, even maybe longer than the 7 or 8. And, it projects decently. It's not a big projector. It's not a big shouter, but it is kind of airy. So people do kind of notice it. It kind of creates that nice bubble. There is some sillage going on with this fragrance for sure. So what do I think about the compliment factor then? This fragrance certainly does have compliment factor, but I think it's a little bit more appropriate for a lady. All the ladies who I let smell this fragrance, it didn't work exactly with the, maybe the blondes or the party girls, the girls who want something overtly sweet. But if the ladies were more introverted or a little bit more laid back in character, this is something that they really gravitated towards. So some of you ladies out there, if you've never experienced Dior Homme Intense, if you thought it was just for the guys, that fragrance is perfectly unisex. And of course, anybody can wear anything. Feel comfortable wearing Dior Homme Intense, and please, ladies, feel comfortable with wearing Iris Imperial. I think you're going to like this one. It's kind of like an understated, slightly classy fragrance. Some ladies out there really love this one. So on my skin, I did get some compliments and I did get some looks, but it doesn't suit my personality, and I knew it when I was wearing it. You know, Iris really isn't for me for the most part. This is not a fragrance that I gravitated towards. So overall, it's a very nice fragrance overall. It's certainly good, and I would recommend it for some of those ladies out there. Guys, you can wear this one, but I think that you probably would like the Dior better overall. Anyways, those are my personal thoughts and my opinion. Again, you can find a bottle of this for $55 or $60 odd. You know, I think for 50 ml. So the price is not bad on these whatsoever. You might ask, is that a great value compared to the Dior Homme? I think it all depends on you. You know, this isn't going to save you a lot of money in the long run, but this is a different interpretation. It's a different enough fragrance, and it is cheaper overall than just getting a regular Dior Homme Intense, especially if you want you know, a vintage version with more iris. Those do get up into the, you know, 150, 200 plus range. So that's why this fragrance was created. We're not thinking about just an average $100 fragrance. We're thinking about, you know, kind of the more iris heavy vintage batches. So overall, it's a good creation. Again, this was sent to me. Take this with a grain of salt if you'd like. I do think this one is nice. Ladies, a lot of the ladies, if they like lavender, if they liked iris, and they like those kinds of smells, they really did like this this smell and this fragrance for sure. So check this one out. Let me know what you think about it. Let me know what you think about Zoha fragrances in the comment section below. Is this a fragrance that you like? Have you heard about this fragrance? What do you think about this juice? I think that it has that nice, airy, almost cottony feel. I think it does have a good feel about it. And again, this is kind of a brand that came out of the blue when I first talked to them. I didn't know what to expect, and the quality and the composition of these fragrances are actually pretty good. They're pretty smooth, and they're well composed overall. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this is the same as Dior quality. That's dependent on your nose. I don't think that this is as classy as the Dior Homme. I think that this is more understated, a little bit more introverted. It's not as classy, but there is good quality, I think, here. I don't think that we could just write off this fragrance as just a clone or something that's just boring. I think that thought did go into this fragrance to create this from whoever the perfumer is or whoever creates this fragrances over at Zoha. I think that they did do a pretty decent job. So, good fragrance overall, I think. Let me know if you've tried it in the comment section below. Let me know, do you like iris as a guy, or do you like iris as a lady? Is it a note that you gravitate towards? Is it something that you like? Does this sound like a nice fragrance to you? I think that it does have the Imperial kind of understated, reserved, strong kind of nature about it. Nice creation, for sure. Let me know what you think, though. I always love to get that conversation started. And while you're at it, why don't you like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, you know, share the video, tell a friend, all those good things, and of course, hit all notifications when you do. So anyways, my friends, I gotta go. Thank you so much for your love and your support, of course, and I'll see you next time. Wear what you love, rock what you got, and peace out, everybody, and bye.